gender-based violence, a widespread issue practiced by many of us, and it also affects individuals, families, and the community at large. My name is Madrin. We have Counsel Kauma Mahat from Rufunya Associated Advocate. We are also sponsored by Kitauluzi International. Thank you.
Gender-based violence. First of all, gender-based violence for us viewers is violence that is targeting a certain gender. Of course, for us, the gender-based violence that we have mainly in Uganda is female gender-based violence. Mostly against women. Of course, there are a few cases of gender-based violence against men, but they don't come out because of the stigma. Men don't go to report cases of how they were violated by women. It is physical. Women are beaten. It is emotional. They are affected mentally. It is mental, and to some extent, gender-based violence can cause death. There are very many circumstances where we have seen the poignant effects of gender-based violence. Case in point, that one of Cheptegei, Rebecca Cheptegei,
who
died recently, murdered by the alleged boyfriend and so on. So unaffiliated dying in such circumstances, just a symbolism of what is happening on a daily basis. The police reports over 10,000 cases of gender-based violence every year. Over 10,000 cases. Those are too many. Despite the fact that many people do not report those cases, you discover that the causes of gender-based violence, of course, one will talk about poverty, we'll talk about other circumstances, but me, I would refer to us not doing enough to see that there is no gender-based violence in Uganda. Legally, because for us we are lawyers, there are many ways a person can be protected against gender-based violence. Yes. In Uganda we have the Domestic Violence Act. People should not be suffering from their homes. You have a threat of violence from a husband, domestic violence for that matter, and you can obtain protection orders even before divorce. Yes, before people go through divorce, you might find that the man or the woman threatening the husband or the husband threatening the wife. These are circumstances where a woman should be very quick to get a protection order from that man. Because from the encounters where you find that you have a bitter argument with a man, he's already seeing you are going to divorce, you might even take part of his property, pulls out a gun and shoots you. So the first thing you should get are these orders refusing him to come near you.
How do they get that?
Legally, there are applications that can be made by lawyers to get such restraining orders. Only that in Uganda, those things are silent. The Domestic Violence Act is not an act that was enacted recently. It was enacted in 2010.
Ever since?
Yes, it has been here now for close to 14 years. But it is not within the legal circles. And it provides a lot of remedies. The first time we go to court, these are easy orders. They are easy to get. They don't go through the lengthy process of law like other court orders, per se the divorce orders, separation orders. They take a long time. They are subject to proof. But these are not orders that take a long time. So under that act, you see that even domestic violence is a crime. Gender-based violence and domestic violence is a crime. You beat a woman, you can be taken to court and sentenced. I mean, if there is a crime for malicious damage to property, why is there no crime for damaging a human being? So it is there around Section 4. There are other laws in Uganda that can help to protect people against gender-based violence, because they are violation of rights. In our constitution, we have freedom from inhuman and degrading treatment. That no one should be treated in such a way that should be mistreated. So basically, you can come up with a lawsuit for human rights, earlier I've been discussing the circumstance with some people about what is happening in the United States around Puff Daddy and his relationships and everything. These Ugandans, all the things happen to Ugandans, but you find for him, he managed to settle several lawsuits. He has been sued severally. These are just criminal charges that have come up, but he has been sued severally on civil lawsuits. How he has been behaving with people, with the wife, with the girlfriends, and so on. So even in Uganda, we have a legal framework for the same. One can go to court seeking court's protection on how they have been treated by either the husband or wife, and they can get protection. I said you can get restraining orders before the divorce. Then also, as Ugandans, I think we should do more to invest in human rights protection. Rights of people are violated to the core. Even you can institute a suit to protect rights of another person who is not yourself.
A neighbor.
Yes, a neighbor. You can, because the neighbor might fear. But every Ugandan has, you are not allowed to come near that person. If it is a house, because you might find that the one violating, you have a relationship with a consanguinity, family relationship. So you stay under the same roof. So the order will tell that man to go away from that house even before the divorce, to stay away from you. That restraining order. Any moment he comes into contact with you, will be found in court contempt and can be arrested. Not after hurting you. That's when they'll be arrested for coming near you.
Because they are a threat.
Because they're a threat. So that alone limits domestic violence. So the arguments, they can't come closer, because I said it comes in both mental, physical, you see, psychological. So some people, they go through this violence not because they are beaten. That's why they don't report cases. They come to report cases when it is dire. I've seen musicians here. Case in point, I don't want to talk about musicians, but you have heard of Weasel and
the wife.
Yes, and they keep on fighting. But I've seen the pictures, how a person who has been beaten looks like from those musicians. These are people who should be a symbol that this violence should not go on. But there are no cases filed against them, or there are no criminal charges that are preferred against them. When these people go to police, in most circumstances, they do not follow these cases to their final conclusions. They sign what they call, they make additional statements. So they will be beaten, they are beaten, they run to police. After going to police, they get the charges on, but within 2 days, they sign additional statements and the cases die. So they don't get money or compensation for that, and they do not get criminal charges against them.
So you mean they can still claim for the compensation of damages? Of
course. In a civil way, where your rights have been violated by any other person. Now there is the Anti-Torture Act. There are many laws, like I said, there is a legal framework. So, some violence amounts to torture. I mean, the violence we have been talking about, a person was burnt to death.
So that
others are beaten to death. So we have issues like death as a cause of action. Death as a cause of action is usually claimed by the relatives who have survived when your person has been killed in such a way. So you can get compensation through that. You have compensation as a result of medical and special damages. Because some people have a reputation. When you have a reputation and you are beaten, and people see you with a gloomy face, I think their damages, they are coming out of the frustration and the embarrassment. So exemplary damages can be given to you. So you can get compensation for being mistreated as a civil remedy. But besides the imprisonment of the culprit.
Okay, thank you, Counsel. Sign out with domestic violence, find us at William Street, Sign out with domestic violence, find us at William Street, Kampala, Explorer Apartments, room 3 and 4. We are sponsored by Kitauzi International.